Welcome to the 6th Amazing Race 26 recap episode of the UR Team Number podcast. My name is Michael Harmstone, and joining me is the Canadian who looks kind of like Pee Wee Herman when he wears a bow tie, Logan Saunders.
Afternoon.
Afternoon. Ben had to spin a roulette wheel to determine whether he was joining us on the podcast, and instead got kidnapped and is trapped in a perfumery. You can tweet us, as always, using the hashtag yatncast, or email us at yatncast@gmail.com. And I think we're in agreement that this was a great episode.
Yes, a very good episode, and we should remind our viewers that they can also like this video. Crazy thing to do, I know, but it would be pretty sweet if they did.
Yeah, I mean, if you like the stuff we're doing, please give it a like so that more racers can see it and then start tweeting us, which has been happening kind of a lot this week. Been blowing up on the Twitter sphere. So, previously, 8 teams raced to Munich in Germany, and Bergen and Kurt couldn't get it in gear. Matt and Ashley served up a successful detour, while Blair and Haley fought with each other, and evidently with the audience, given how much hate she's been getting. And Ali was dumped at the roadblock, whilst Blind 8 teams struggled at the detour, and we had Bergen and Kurt eliminated, while Ali and Steve took gold.
In Kurt's words, it was awful.
I know this is an audio-only podcast, but you can imagine my eye roll when I heard Phil say that Ali and Steve took gold.
Yeah, only John Montgomery abused that line to death in the previous season of Amazing Race Canada when the Olympian team won. How many legs did Natalie and Megan win again? 7?
They won 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, yeah.
7 legs, yep. And so that line's been abused to death and should not be used in any other international version of Amazing Race for a long time.
It shouldn't have been used then either.
Yes. And did you notice the outdoor curling that they showed for a second there during the previously on segment?
Well, they've got to tie it back to Winter Olympics, or Olympics generally, which Munich has held.
So you're saying the previously on segment was a tribute to Steve and Ali winning that leg in Munich?
Maybe a little. I mean, I'm surprised we didn't get more Olympics references in Munich, given that they have had at least one Olympics there.
Yeah, it's almost. I think a movie was made about it, if I recall correctly. I should note that with curling that I walked by the local sports bar recently on my way home from work. And for once, there was really nobody inside the sports bar when I looked through the window, and I realized it was because curling was on. So not only is curling boring to watch in real life, but apparently it's boring if you're watching it on TV and you're drunk.
It's sort of like golf.
Sort of like golf, I would agree.
Also, you walking instead of running everywhere.
I know, it's unusual. I did run. I actually just finished a run. I'm in another ridiculous running competition, and we'll see how that. I'll tell you all about it over the next few weeks.
Have you decided what the punishments are if you don't keep up?
It's a doozy. It's a doozy.
But you can't say.
No.
Ah, spoil sport. You know I love the punishments.
The punishments haven't aired on the East Coast yet, so I can't say.
When have we ever actually not decided to podcast about something that hasn't aired on the East Coast? Like, 2 fake podcast Logan in the past year.
Hey, that was a team effort.
A team effort led in mostly by you, can I point out.
Yes.
Any hate towards the fake podcast that will probably return for Amazing Race 27. Not sure if they're going to return for Canada 3, because we probably won't have time. But any hate towards that, please direct them to @LogSuperKowaki, because he loves it.
Yes, I need more haters. Do you notice, so do we have to get to the over-the-top forward focus eye advertisement there with the cars?
I really didn't want to, because it made me eye roll even more than the gold medal comment.
This car is unbelievable!
Because I hate when they do this every time.
She even faced the camera too. It was the most over-the-top product placement. It truly was Spatula City from the movie UHF.
It's been a pretty bad week for people facing the camera and going, yes, you need to do this. Because there was another one for, I think it might have been Mike and Rochelle, actually. They did a laughable one during the episode. I think it might have been with the Ford Fiestas.
All they needed to do was to wink at the camera. Wink and a thumbs up.
I know we love Mike and Rochelle, but yeah, guys, seriously, please knock that off.
How else do they earn their consolation money in the event that they get eliminated down the road? In fact, if you win the Amazing Race, they can refuse your grand prize if you do not pander with product placement.
So, teams must fly to Nice in France and find the Hotel Westminster and get a professional fitting for a suit and dress respectively before they fly by helicopter to Monaco the next morning.
So much for public transportation that we discussed last week to save on costs.
I mean, I know we've been ragging on this season a little bit. Not as much as we did with 24, but we've been having a little bit of a go at the cost-cutting measures for 26. But I am shocked they did not do public transport. And they stumped up for 7 helicopters.
7?
7!
Or as they say in Monaco, set helicopters.
Oui. And also, not just that, they got filler tucks, they got everyone professionally fitted, stumped up for champagne in the Hotel Westminster, and drinks on the yacht that they hired.
Wonder how much was sponsored by the Monaco Tourism Board.
This leg had so much money.
I mean, was this the first time that there's ever been evidence of Phil Kogan wearing a tux anywhere in his whole life?
Yeah, and this is also the first leg in a long while that Phil has demonstrated the task on the internet. He demonstrated the Highwire task as an online extra, I believe.
Awesome. I wonder if the tux can be converted into a turtleneck when it gets cold outside. They can just raise the neck of it, the scruff.
I'm sure Phil has commissioned special turtleneck tuxes.
Kiwi tuxes.
Yeah, for when they go back to classic locations. So we have our gold medalists, Ali and Steve, leaving at 9 a.m. Matt and Ashley leaving at 9:57. Jeff and Bracky at 10:38. Jaylani and Jenny at 10:41. Blair and Haley at 10:47, Laura and Tyler at 10:58, and Mike and Rowe at 1:03.
That is quite the time gap for the last place team in contrast to the other 6 teams.
It is. However, they proved to be very, very good with flights, and good with transport generally this leg.
Yes. We also got an awkward flashback to Haley and Blair arguing on the previous leg with, you don't freaking pay attention.
We didn't see that in the previous leg, that's the thing.
Yeah, it was completely unaired footage, right? But yet it was in black and white as if it were a flashback.
And even better on that fight was in a press preview image for last week, then didn't air until this week.
Very awkward editing. Do you think, because this sort of goes with my theory that, because we didn't even see the date night for this week, so I'm thinking that the editors have probably been told, based on viewer reaction after the first 2 or 3 episodes, that I think they've gone back and did quick last-minute edits on some of the footage to put less emphasis on the dating aspect as opposed to what they were originally intending to do when they did the original cut for all the episodes this season.
I would 100% agree with that, because I think that they are trying to rescue the season, because they intended on it being a sort of the start of them doing gimmicky seasons every so often. And I'm not sure the gimmick necessarily works when it's so heavily focused on it.
Because half of the season success is what you do when you're filming the season and whatever happens out there. And then the other half is how you edit it to cultivate storylines, narratives, and airtime, and just what you focus on. And I think they're really trying to make up for that 50% as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, the first point of this being a blatant return to classic Amazing Race standards is flight intrigue. We have not had that this season that much.
No, just to really put down the new kids on the block. That's been about it. And what's even more shocking is that people view flight intrigue as negative now, as opposed to old school, where that was the most interesting part about the Amazing Race, other than fast forward strategies.
Don't get you started on the fast forward strategies.
I know, I'm going to leave it at that. No more. We'll leave it at that.
I mean, the biggest thing that's killed flight intrigue was the rule that was introduced last season, I believe, where once they have bought a pair of tickets, they cannot buy another one, regardless of whether it's refundable or whatever.
Yeah, that really cuts down on flight scramble. Unless you're Jim and Misty, then it just makes you look a bit foolish, and everyone has a good laugh because Jim and Misty are good sports about it. But otherwise, yeah, it really just makes booking flights just a really short and irrelevant scene in the grand scheme of things.
Having said that, anyone who is cast on Amazing Race 27, which is probably going to happen now, given how it's holding up on Friday nights, and also they seem to have a bit of faith in it again. Study Mike and Michelle's strategy, because just because you have a terrible flight purchased does not mean you cannot make moves, as they proved. They got lucky with the standby, but you can do that all you like. That is well within the rules. And it's the sort of thing that will hopefully break the flight rule and revert it back to the old one.
I hope so too. Do you notice that they slightly made fun of Tyler and Laura losing their passports from the last round?
I love that this is by far the most screen time we've seen from Laura and Tyler, and we kind of proved that our instinct that Tyler's kind of a dick was correct.
But yeah, when they try to use their passports, the subtitles from the ticketing agent bolded "passports, please," just to remind viewers of what happened last round.
Oh, editor dick move. So Ali and Steve are initially alone on the first flight, scheduled to arrive at 5:05 p.m. But Micah and Shell weasel their way on standby and also join this flight at the last second. And then it's Blair and Hayley, Jaylani and Jenny, Jeff and Bracky, and Laura and Tyler on the second flight, scheduled to arrive 40 minutes late in the first flight. A little bit of a Phil classic wording throwback there from me. Matt and Ashley are alone on the last flight after the ticketing agent screwed up their initial booking on the second flight, and it's scheduled to arrive 20 minutes after the second flight.
The airport name is downright hilarious.
Which one was it?
For Munich, the airport that they used for this leg, they even had to zoom in on the sign for it. It's called Punkt Langdung. D-U-N-G at the end. It's Punkt Langdung.
Punkt Langdung.
So it's the land of punk dung or something like that. Which goes back to last week when we said there is no romantic word in German.
No, there really isn't. Having said that, last week's podcast between Amazing Race 26 and Big Brother Canada Week 3, we really went off onto quite a lot of tangents.
Which we are doing. Are we having a tangent of a tangent right now?
Yeah, this is so meta. So, teams then go to the Hotel Westminster, and that's why Steve gets his stuff made.
Indeed. Let's go be fancy, bougie. I believe Jelani referred to Monica as being dope, and it certainly is a dope place to be.
Monica?
Monaco.
Off of Friends?
I was thinking of Monica and Cherie from The Amazing Race 4, actually. I definitely wasn't thinking of Joseph and Monica, or Mojo, as they say.
Mojo. They should come back for The Amazing Race All-Stars 3. Bopper's Revenge.
Bopper's Revenge? Oh. He gets paired up with Mallory this time, and then Bopper loses something, and then Mallory is screwed over on The Amazing Race on her fourth attempt.
No, Bopper has to be paired up with Gary, because it's only fair.
Oh, yeah. That would be quite the twist.
For the record, Amazing Race producers, if you are listening to this, do not even dare do another All-Stars, ever.
You did well the first time with casting, but the last two times you didn't know what you were doing.
Seriously, I do not want to have to podcast about another season like 24. That was terrible. You did everything wrong.
You're an evil, evil man. Amazing Race Asia 4 reference.
Oh, we're getting in the references today. So the suits and dresses will not be ready until the next morning, so everyone just gets to, chill out at the hotel and drink champagne.
The fitting of the outfits was a bit amusing. In fact, this is the third episode where they've been fitted with outfits, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was going to get onto this. Is this a potential memory challenge?
Huh. It could very well be.
Because we have had quite a lot of outfits this season, and it's getting more repetitive, like it's going to be a memory challenge. Because
we had one in Thailand with Tyler's favorite activity. And then we had the Lederhausen in Munich. And now we have the fancy tuxes and dresses, and one that makes you look like you're going to an 8th grade dance, or what was it? What was
it was 8th grade prom dress.
8th grade prom dress. Do they even do prom in grade 8?
I'm not sure.
If a grade 8 did go to prom, whoever the grade 12 student is would be getting a lot of suspicious eyebrows from the staff.
Well, the greeter this week was definitely wearing a local costume as well. So what my suspicion is that it's going to be costumes generally, but probably a mixture between costumes that they're wearing and costumes greeters are wearing, because they've never done proper greeter costumes. They've done Hats Entertainment from Amazing Race 17. Still my second favourite memory challenge of all time, and one that you will get to because it's amazing and so dickish and fun, and presented like a game show, which, wins me bonus points.
As long as it's not a Japanese game show. As long as we stay away from Japanese game shows on The Amazing Race, everyone has a good time.
They get Bob Eubanks to do it. Bob Eubanks is the clue giver. They properly went all out for that task, and I love it. But they've never done costumes for the US version. It was the memory challenge of Amazing Race Australia versus New Zealand.
Right.
But it's one of the only things that they've never used as a memory challenge.
I have a question. When they go to Nice, wouldn't it be crazy if they ran into Shelley and Nisi from Amazing Race 25 on the plane to Nice?
Only if they were fighting about going to the pit stop.
Angela Pickle breakdown?
And Phil has to be greeted by Humpy Dane again. Jeff and Bracky kiss at the fitting, which of course makes Laura nauseous. As we mentioned, loads of airtime for Tyler and Laura in this episode, and not all of it was positive.
Tyler's just doing a thumbs up watching Jeff and Bracky make out. He probably has their tape, I would assume.
I mean, I've said this a couple of times today, but that Tyler screen cap will keep coming back because I love it way too much.
And then who was the person that looked like they were going to throw up? Was it Laura? Was Laura the one that was not impressed?
Oh, Laura was utterly unimpressed. She said it made her feel nauseous.
Oh, right.
And I just thought, stop drinking the champagne then. That's probably not helping, love.
Drinking and blind dates, great combination. I also liked Haley spitting up the dress too. That was a bit amusing.
I mean, we were talking about brilliant supercuts on Big Brother Canada this week. Another brilliant supercut between Jackie going, "Oh, I've been fitted before, I love this dress, red is so my colour," and then just Ashley going, "It's like an 8th grade prom dress. It's awful."
And then Rochelle loving that her dress is black. And then Blair's outfit, which gets quite the treatment on air by Haley.
Yeah, I mean, I've had it personally confirmed to me in the past hour that Haley is a massive Pee Wee Herman superfan, hence why she wanted to give the shout-out.
Other people may take a Pee Wee Herman reference the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, Twitter's cat ladies and Facebook's cat ladies have got massive beef with her for some reason.
Yeah, as we were discussing earlier, there was 2 things that they made fun of Haley for this week, which were completely unnecessary. They were saying, "Oh, I can't believe Haley's wearing extensions. We've had Rachel Riley pay $500 for her extensions to be on The Amazing Race and refuse to shave her head because of it." And the second is that people were making fun of Haley for making a Pee Wee Herman reference and saying it was inappropriate. Come on, folks. You're really nitpicking things to make fun of Haley for now. You shouldn't be making fun of Haley in the first place.
And that's rude.
Was I really going into Margie Adams' rant there?
Maybe a little.
She's had to live with being a Pee Wee Herman fan her whole life, and she doesn't need to hear it from people like you. And they're laughing at her.
And that's rude. I mean, I know in the first 4 episodes we said that Haley probably has about 50,000 cats and that sort of thing. But seriously, guys, our jokes are all in good humour. Haley probably does have cats. We do not mock her for her appearance or her tastes. Because, frankly, we all have some weird hobbies, like talking about Big Brother Canada, for example, when I live 5,000 miles away.
Insert Tyler thumbs up here. Am I the only one that thought that Jackie looked a lot like Miss Scarlet from the board game Clue with her outfit?
Yeah, she did. It's called Cluedo, but yeah.
It's called Clue here in the West. That's what counts. It's in North America. Come on now, Michael.
So yeah, there were 7 separate helicopters because Amazing Race has all the monies. And it was done in order of fitting finishing, which was Ali and Steve, Mike and Michelle, Jaylani and Jenny, Laura and Tyler, Blair and Haley, Jeff and Brackett, and then Matt and Ashley.
A mini equalizer. We got a very weird set of departure times here where they said that Ali and Steve were in the first helicopter at 8:16 a.m. That is ultra precise for predetermined for like flight or boat or charter bus bookings. 8:16 a.m. That's very precise.
I suspect they were probably like 5 minutes apart for each charter, and then their helicopter just got delayed for whatever reason.
I wonder if Steve loved his outfit just because he truly thought he looked like a rapper.
All we needed was just Brooke trying to sell him sunglasses.
Yes.
Saying that he looks like a rapper.
You look like a rapper! You look like a rapper and a gangster, Steve! This is the real gold that you want. I have the worst Brooke impression, I think.
I'm so kind of disappointed for you that you're nearly halfway through Amazing Race 17 already.
Yeah.
It's such a good season, and you have such a good cast.
So many jokes, so many jokes. Um, and is Blair the first person to try ninja kicking and drinking a martini while in a Pee Wee Herman outfit, or rather, just having that whole image that he constructed of himself of ninja kicking and drinking a martini to only have his partner say, "Oh yeah, you look like Pee Wee Herman right now."
It's almost like he got to watch John Hamm's videos from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Karate, karate, karate.
Savior Rick's Church of the Scary Apocalypse.
At least Blair and Haley didn't have their own kissing session like Jeff and Jackie did after the Pee Wee Herman reference. That would have been way too much for me to handle.
I mean, is it fair to say that Jeff and Bracky are probably the only blind date couple who are not going to be firmly in the friend zone after the race?
I think that's a part of what makes the whole cast seem like they're really close-knit, is that they were all in on this Stranger twist together. They're all relatively the same age. They have a lot in common. And geographically, I think most of them are pretty close. So I think it was bound to happen this way because producers weren't really aiming to match up any couples. I think Jeff and Bracky being a genuine dating couple potentially was just coincidental.
As it happens, I have a picture on Haley's Instagram at the moment open where it's her, Jeff and Bracky, chilling in Florida.
This tape is going to get a lot more interesting, is what you're saying.
Put it this way, none of the Facebook and Twitter cat ladies will be wanting to see this video anymore, because they'll just be staring at Haley's extensions and her cats in the background, that sort of thing.
They'll just be critiquing her based on that.
We're getting quite weird already. So once they land in Monaco, and a rare sunny day in November in Europe, can I just point out, teams find it's a roadblock, which is who wants to treat their partner. And in this roadblock, one person must search the streets of Monaco for a dozen Princess Grace roses and find a particular chocolate shop to pick out 9 chocolates for their partner before joining them on a luxury yacht and finding their next clue.
Combining Grace Kelly with Forrest Gump. The race is like a box of chocolates. You never know which...
That was a better impression than your Brooke one, at least.
You never know which Logan's impressions you're going to get.
It's usually Ben who we rely on to do awful impressions.
I'm making up for it in his absence.
So we have Steve, Mike, Jenny, Laura, Haley, Jackie, and Matt doing the roadblock.
Matt and Ashley in the helicopter was pretty funny, by the way. I feel like James Bond right now. I feel like Pretty Woman.
This was a very good episode for quotes.
Imagine who fit Ashley at the Hotel Westminster and they're watching her, and their outfit is just being trashed on national television.
Yeah, fun fact, the French speak very good English, especially in that part of France. So they will have understood.
Do they care for Julia Roberts movies, though?
I'm not sure about that.
They may have too good a taste to lower themselves to the standards of watching Julia Roberts films.
Qui est la Julia Roberts? Je n'aime pas ces films.
That was some great La Francais.
Merci. Je vous en prie. So we had our first douchey Tyler quote of the episode when he said, while Laura was running around Monaco, I was chilling on a yacht.
And he puts on the glasses. The glasses is what kills me in that little confessional there.
What kills me is Laura's reaction. She's just like, he's so obnoxious.
That's what it's like probably hanging around Funky Kong from Donkey Kong Country. He probably says something like, oh, you know, Donkey and Diddy were running around in the jungle, and I was just in my little hut there, just relaxing with my sunglasses.
Chilling out, Max and relaxing all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of the pool.
Outside the pool?
Yeah, it's the Monaco, obviously. Good save there.
I was about to say that you would have lost the TV-themed episode of Don't Forget the Lyrics. Wayne Brady would have been very upset with you.
Talking of Wayne Brady, Whose Line back on Friday? Yes! I love me some Whose Line.
Whose Line? That sounds like a Canadian show. I was just thinking, just with it being, with you saying Whose Line, it sounds like a short form of a Canadian TV show that we'd have here. With like lumberjacks or something. Whose Line?
Whose Line? New on CTV. After Amazing Race Canada.
It's about 7 o'clock.
Why are we devolving to weird Canadian impressions again?
Speaking of weird airtimes, did you know that for people that were watching the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees baseball game in with a certain TV affiliate, that they had to wait through all 6 hours and 40-something minutes of that baseball game to watch The Amazing Race. So it didn't come on until after 1:30 in the morning local time. But it's just funny with how with American TV shows that viewers take it for granted they're going to be the first ones to see it, and then you're stuck with the people that are watching the Yankees game that if you thought Friday at 8 p.m. was a bad time slot, how about Saturday at 1:30 in the morning?
Wah, wah.
After waiting 7 hours for it, watching on TV.
It was worse for them purely because they had to miss a good episode.
That is true.
So we had Jenny and Bracky both picking their favourite chocolates because they're blind dates. They have no idea what the guys like.
I would do that too if I was in their position, because when it comes to pizza or chocolates, I don't know how I'm not overweight, but when it comes to pizza or chocolates, I really know what I'm doing. So if I was in their shoes, I would do the same thing as well, because people usually trust my judgment on those two things.
I mean, I think you know full well that I am a chocoholic. Between my Tim Hortons hot chocolates, between my ridiculous appetite when it came to any food whatsoever.
Welcome to North American food portions.
There's a very good reason our favourite Canadian restaurant's The Keg, which I pity you as a vegetarian, you can't go to The Keg. It's all meat. I don't even think they do any non-meat options.
It's one big meat fest here at The Keg.
It's just a meat tornado. So we also had Mike going to the wrong key as well, which probably really confused people in North America that the guy who was blatantly English said key instead of quay, or whatever it's probably pronounced. Like buoy. Do you research North America? So one's teams are reunited. They must head to the Casino de Monte Carlo and find the roulette wheel to find out what the hell they have planned for them next.
This is the only time that I will ever approve of the blind detour, because it fit with the theme of the episode, and if that's what it takes for them to go to the Hotel Monte Carlo, then that's pretty sweet. I wish they would have panned to see if Maria and Tiffany from The Amazing Race 15 were in there.
No, you don't, because you would have been talking shit about them for the past 5 minutes.
No, it would have been better if they show them just as they were losing a hand or were being eliminated from the Monte Carlo Millions poker tournament.
Having said that, do you remember what the penultimate clue in Amazing Race 15 was? Find the casino named after the most famous casino in Monaco.
Right. Oh, we got a connection there. Switchback. Switchback, where you get to use the real McCoy.
Yep, and you get to have your chips miscounted as well, and therefore lose the Amazing Race.
Poor Brian and Erica.
Poor Brian and Erica indeed. They should have got a time credit for that. So we also have Phil in a tux. Phil in a tux.
Very fashionable. Probably the most expensive outfit he's ever worn.
How many outfit changes did Phil have in this episode, actually? It was quite a lot. I think every time we saw him, he was wearing something different. Just
every block. It's like, you know, in the Kodak commercial, how they use how they have those little picture frames and it keeps dispensing images. Well, with Phil Kogan, he walks down the street, touches a piece of clothing, and suddenly he's in a different outfit.
That is a really quite creepy superpower, Logan. Power to steal clothes.
No, not the steal. No, his own clothes. Like he just tugs at his sleeve and then it rips off and reveals another outfit. And then, touches his hat, reveals another outfit, touches his turtleneck, and just keeps on changing. Yeah, I thought you meant he was just sort of walking down the street of clothes shops and going, oh, I like this, touch it, and just steals it. So that's how Mark and Mallory lost their clothes in The Amazing Race 24. I ain't got no clothes, Phil stole them all. Phil, I have your medicine. Is it just me, or when racers were picking the chocolates, that it was almost like they were picking donuts in a donut shop? Like, they were in Tim Hortons, I want a couple of the Boston Cream. Let me see here, a couple of Canadian Maple. I like how they were all normal flavours, like caramel and mocha, and then you just have the Monaco chocolate. The Monaco. Of course you want to choose the Monaco chocolate. It is the place with more millionaires per capita than anywhere else in the world. Exactly. I think I'm going to go with the Monaco chocolate. It would be very rich chocolate. Indeed. So at the casino, teams must gamble on their detour. If it lands on red, they go to Don't Slack Off. If it lands on black, they go to Win by a Nose. And both detours require teams to pick up a car from the casino's valet. Is it just me, or does that sound like names of horses in a Kentucky Derby? Win by a Nose, followed by Don't Slack Off. We did have the Grand National, Britain's number one horse race. So it's actually not out of the question. So you're saying it was a one-horse town yesterday? So in Win by a Nose, teams must use a recipe to remake a perfume and a cologne, each made with 12 cents to get their next clue. To make it a bit more difficult, the final 4 cents required are hidden in 4 of 12 unmarked bottles. Or just marked with numbers. And in Don't Slack Off, teams must first zip line 2,000 feet above Monaco, and then walk a tightrope back across to receive their next clue. I have a question. I was just going to backtrack a little to Matt picking out the roses, which, by the way, delivering roses officially makes the season trying to blatantly copy The Bachelor or Bachelorette. And with Matt picking the roses, where he was asking for the name of the roses, and I believe the vendor said Princess Grace, and then he ended up saying nice ass scotch, I believe is what he heard.
Nice ass scotch.
Yeah, that's what he said aloud. That's what he thought he heard.
Maybe nice ass scotch is just what he wants his prize to be if they ever win a leg. I want a nice ass bottle of scotch.
Forget a trip to South Africa for 5 days from Travelocity. I just want a nice ass bottle of scotch.
That would be the biggest mockery ever if Matt and Ashley finally won a leg and were hoping for a honeymoon, and they just got something ridiculous. Like, you've won all the 7-Ups you can drink.
Or all the Monaco chocolates you could eat, and just see, like, Haley with the sugar rush afterwards.
Oh, God, that'd be awesome.
Or Allie, who vowed to eat all 9 chocolates, and just be like, oh no, I don't feel so good, guys.
Yeah, to be fair, if there was any task involving chocolate, it would be so me anyway. My partner would not get a single bit.
Or if it was like Amazing Race 5, where when they went to the chocolate factory in Argentina and had to bite into the chocolate, so if it was you and you found the white center with the chocolate, would you be like, screw it, I just want to bite some more chocolates and just keep going?
I'd be like, I found the white center, but I'm hungry. I've got time.
Let's get diabetes.
Let's diabetes. Diabetes. I'm with all the P&R references today, aren't I? So Ali and Steve, Mike and Michelle, Laura and Tyler, and Blair and Haley all get win by nose. And it's Jaylani and Jenny, Jeff and Bracky, and Matt and Ashley who don't slack off.
And Mike gets out a hug because Rochelle found him to be too sweaty after running around.
Did you see his back when they went into that shop to get directions?
I think it was, I remember it being drenched.
It was a completely different colour, his entire back, to the rest of his jacket.
Are you saying it wasn't bougie nor swanky, as Jenny would say? Which, by the way, brings us to our second Donkey Kong Country reference of the episode.
We also had Laura and Tyler deciding to give themselves some more bougie and swanky names, to quote Jenny, and use their middle names for the rest of the leg. So it's Magdalena and Hayes doing Monaco.
That sounds like Jeff and Bracky's tape, potentially.
Well, according to us, it was Jeff and Bracky doing an observatory. So
this is more high class. This is the high class type.
And Matt also tripped on the step out of the casino.
Classic Matt fashion.
Blah, blah.
I like how Jenny made us, not so much a pun, but when the roulette wheel was spinning, she was like, ooh, 21. And I was thinking, wait a second, that's the wrong game, you're playing roulette. This isn't 21. Have you ever played blackjack or been in a casino before, Jenny? But then I realized that the ball just happened to land on the number 21, so it was just a coincidence that Jenny happened to shout the wrong game that she was playing.
Something tells me that Jenny would be quite fun to play a card game with, actually. I'm thinking something like Cheat. She would be lethal at Cheat.
I have 3, or Bethany from the Amazing Race 25 playing Cheat, where her voice goes 10 times more of an inflection when she's not telling the truth. I have 3 sevens! You cheated! No, but Bethany is reserved for Cards Against Humanity. Oh, let's not go there.
I would just love to hear Bethany read out Cards Against Humanity cards, I'm sorry.
Bethany would just be great in general to just bear terrible national news.
There's been a massacre!
Oh, classic Bethany. So what I found amusing is that Allie and Steve's location for their detour was to go to a place called Easy, but yet they had the hardest time trying to get there.
Well, this leg was a very good one for people who are good at directions. So, not Ali and Steve, evidently. I
find it hilarious that Jenny and Jelani lost their map of Monaco. And I'm thinking, a whole map of Monaco is only a square mile. I don't think you should have too tough a time trying to get around Monaco. That's like the map in Grand Theft Auto 3. If you just ran all the way across, it probably spans couple more miles virtually compared to Monaco in reality.
If you consider that, I think both detour options were actually back in France.
Then it's a lot further away. The map of Monaco is, I'm guessing, pretty much useless at that point.
Yeah, I think they flew in, well, they did fly into France. The roadblock and the detour decision point were both in Monaco, and then I think both detour options and the pit stop were in France.
I wonder with Monaco, because they said it's all the most millionaires per capita. I wonder because the place is only a square mile, that if your net worth falls below the million mark and you're down to $999,000, do you just automatically get kicked out of the country and deported?
You get driven back over to France.
No helicopter?
Or to Germany.
You have to walk.
So Mike and Michelle are the first to go for one of their for their scents, and they have one right and one wrong. And Laura and Tyler start talking crap about them, which, if you know us, is not going to fly. So it was hilarious to see them get both wrong.
Yes.
So, ha 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 ha, suck on that.
The location for that detour option was a bit amusing. It was the courtyard of the Notre Dame, which is exactly, I believe that's right where Thomas from Jill and Thomas of the Amazing Race 17 went to school, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is, surprisingly. So Jaylani and Jenny are the first to leave the detour, with Matt and Ashley in second and Jeff and Bracky in third. And then Ali and Steve in fourth, Laura and Tyler in fifth, Blair and Haley in sixth, and Mike and Michelle in last. And they have to now head to the pit stop, which is the Place du Passable. The last team to check in here may be eliminated.
It is passable as a pit stop, I must say.
It is. It was in the middle of nowhere, as Jeff and Bracky said.
You know what's amusing, too, about Monaco in general, just how they portray it on in this episode here. And by the way, they used more unique soundtracks for this episode than they have in several seasons. But just the style of the music and how it was all being portrayed with the whole yacht scene and all fancy clothes, that it reminded me a lot of the Isle Delfino from Super Mario Sunshine, that once the helicopter landed, I was expecting all the teams to be greeted by Piantas.
In this roadblock, you must equip your flood device.
That's my Pianta impression.
Oh, Logan.
I like Jelani in the detour, though, because he pretty much quoted Little John while going across the gorge there, where he just said, "Yeah, what, yeah."
That was legitimately a high tightrope.
It was, and they were going fast. I think Jenny's screams were justified, and also Jeff defecating himself during the task as well.
Yeah, 2,000 feet above Monaco it was.
That's more than the square mile of the country itself, probably.
Yeah, I mean, that is probably higher than the Marina Bay Sands one as well.
Oh, in Singapore there?
That they did last season, yeah. So this is by far the biggest switch up in terms of placements between the last task and the pit stop I think we've seen in about 5 seasons. This was ridiculous. I can't even think of one in recent memory.
That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, this is like very old school, where they're in the middle of nowhere and some of the middle of nowhere legs, it's really easy to find the pit stop, but then there's others where it's almost impossible just because it is too great a distance that they're traveling to the mat and just not enough locals around to help them out.
Not a single team stayed in the same position. Out of 7, not a single one.
That's crazy. So this might be a record then, were it not to shake up at all.
Yeah, it's definitely a record in recent memory. I can't think of the last time that so many teams got shaken up.
I must point out, though, that all the teams that were higher up in the pack were the teams who completed the Scents detour, and they were shown to be finishing later than the teams that were doing the tightrope there. So I'm guessing that the Scents detour was much closer than the Heights one.
I think the Scents detour was further away from Monaco, but nearer to the pit stop. Because that tends to be how detours work, doesn't it?
And probably Steve and Ellie probably lost a bit of time because Ellie kept losing her shoe like Cinderella.
I mean, come on, if you're going to give them glass slippers. Seriously, guys.
I think Mickey and Pete from the Amazing Race Canada would have really loved the Sense task, because then they could just smell a whole bunch of chemicals at their own leisure.
That's horrible. I mean, they're not Sarah from Big Brother Canada 3.
Or BJ and Tyler would have enjoyed this task a lot too, I think. They would have really known their stuff.
They could, in theory, relocate this to New Mexico and have them make meth instead.
That would have been a bit too extreme. Remember, there's safety costs involved here.
Yeah, just have Hal from Malcolm in the Middle be the task judge. So it was Blair and Haley who ended up winning the leg, much to my delight. And they also won probably the best Travelocity prize in about 5 seasons. Because this was a seriously good trip. So it was a trip to South Africa, a very nice hotel with shark diving, and just a trip to Cape Town anyway. Awesome.
No breakfast in bed?
I know. That's the only downside of it. There was no breakfast in bed option.
Did they even get to win a Fitbit watch?
Seriously, this is 6 legs in. How are they going to top the Travelocity prizes here?
They won't.
Yeah, we've probably got about 3 or 4 more Travelocity prizes, and they tend to get more and more expensive as the season goes on. That would make sense. So this is going to be a ridiculous last couple of legs if you win them.
Yes, and what I like too is that they still managed to finish first, even with Haley getting a major headache from all the things that she was smelling.
Not for the first time.
And what really, I was just in disbelief with reading through the comments online and said, well, Blair and Haley finally did well because Haley behaved herself, which is really demeaning to Haley because, well, for one, she's not 12 years old, and two, they've been doing really well in every single leg except for one. They have, was it 2 second-place finishes already, and we're only 6 legs in?
8th, 9th, 2nd, 5th, 1st.
Yeah, that's a really good average for a 4-leg stretch in the race. None of them have really been consistently at the bottom. Jenny and Jelani have been the only ones that have struggled a little bit over the past couple legs.
But then they had their 2 first-place finishes to sort of bump them up a little bit. Is this the longest we've gone without a monetary prize as well? Because in 6 legs, we have not had a single... You've won $5,000 each, or you've won $7,500 each.
Or Amazing Race 24, you've won $2,500 each.
Yeah, they were skimping on that one, weren't they?
Or what they should have done for Amazing Race 24, if they could go back in time, is to be like, oh, you've won some sweetgrass.
You've won a trip for 2 from Travelocity to beautiful Los Angeles. Yeah, I mean, over the past 3 seasons, the latest that a monetary prize has been given out was leg 5, and we've not seen one in 6 legs already, which, is pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's probably because Fitbit replaced it, but still, it's quite a surprise, really.
It is.
So Ali and Steve's in 2nd place.
Silver.
Yep, the silver medal. Mike and Michelle round out the top 3. Greatly pleased me because I was a bit worried for them when they left in last. Matt and Ashley in 4th. Jaylani and Jenny in 5th. Lauren Tyler in 6th. And then Jeff and Brecky in last. And they were eliminated.
Oh, we didn't talk about the lady at the detour there. The one who did the sense thing. She was a bit of a jerk.
Yeah, she was. Well, she wasn't as much of a jerk as we've seen some people be, but...
No, but she wasn't faking them out with dumping buckets of water on their head. But she was still like, oh, you're back? To imply that she had zero faith in their scent, in their perfuming and cologne-making abilities.
Just going back to the monetary prize thing, do we count double your money as a monetary prize?
We can. Ryan and Abby wish they could.
Because if you exclude double your money, then the record in recent memory is leg 9 in 21, which is $5,000
each.
Oh yeah, that had the double your money and express pass.
So they made up for it then with adding an extra $1 million to the pot.
Also, we didn't see Lauren Tyler actually found their date night card.
No, that was just brought up at the pit stop where Phil's like, hey, because this was a pretty long match chat where Phil said, hey, who's got date night? And then Laura and Tyler admit they have it. And then we have a slight pun with Phil asking if some of the teams have chemistry together right after the scent task. And then discussing the art of kissing and telling, which reminds you, oh yeah, they are still trying to push the dating theme just a little bit this season.
I love how Matt and Ashley were just like, yep, there's kissing and telling here, guys.
James Bond making out with Pretty Woman.
Who'd have thunk? But we didn't see Lauren Tyler actually find the date night card, and don't even know what it is either.
Now I'm thinking about Sean Connery making out with Julia Roberts. That isn't a pleasant image for me.
So, Miss Roberts.
Miss Brockovich.
Are you trying to seduce me?
Your mother.
Shock it, Trebek. Oh, God. It could only have really been found in the roadblock clue because they won't have put it in the detour decision point because there's a chance of it not being found at all.
Are you saying Are you saying that it's being planted like hidden immunity idol clues where the date night card was probably planted amongst one of the flowers there that they got, one of the roses?
Yeah, maybe. It's probably going to have been in the roadblock one purely because that was the only proper clue box, I think. They tend to hide them in clue boxes unless it's actually after the roadblock, like the Metal Castle one.
I bet producers were disappointed that a team that already had a date night within the first 4 rounds of date nights that they got a second one.
I mean, come on, guys, give it to Jeff and Jackie.
What happens if an eliminated team gets date night? I'm guessing it just gets edited out, but they still get to go on it?
Yeah, I'd assume so. Or maybe they just say, you know what, guys? You won a date night, but suck it, you got eliminated.
Elimination Station for the next few weeks is your date night.
Also, Mike and Michelle's was completely unaired as well.
Completely unaired, and this was the Observatory one that production kept advertising in their press release months before the season even started.
Which is probably our biggest example of them going back and re-editing it.
So they really turned a 180 saying, okay, Mushroom, a New Kids on the Block being a mushroom head is not exactly It's not exactly compelling television for the viewers.
Well, I don't think the editors were particularly happy with having to edit the same thing every week, basically, apart from Tyler liking fireworks.
Yeah, they may go on strike again.
Do you think that this was a fair elimination leg as well?
I think so.
Jackie was heartbroken, bless her. I felt really bad for her.
Yeah, I felt bad. Felt bad for them a bit more than I did for Kurt, I would say.
I mean, our love of Bergen is quite well known, so he escapes the wrath of quitting the driving last week. But yeah, we were more heartbroken for Jeff and Bracky than Bergen and Kurt. And it is a pretty big loss of the season in terms of characters, because Bracky was one of the biggest characters in terms of singles.
At least they got each other's digits.
They certainly got each other's digits.
Just took a really long time to get to that point in the relationship.
Maybe she kept trying to give out her phone number and the cameraman were like, guys, you seriously can't give out numbers, because if we accidentally leave this in, you're screwed.
Wonder if upon her elimination that it was unaired where she channeled Greg from Big Brother Canada and said, #JJ, #Jeff and Bracky, #718 or whatever the hell her area code is, #peace.
#Las Vegas, #Nevada, #Showgirl, #Team JJ, #peace. So, next week, we have a double express pass / double leg.
Double express pass?
No, there's no express pass, thankfully. But, on the subject of express pass, it's still not been used, and I believe it has to be used by the end of next week.
Actually, with Jenny and Jelani there, it's funny that they always argue over directions, especially because that sign that Jelani had to read from was tiny, and it's like, you know, with especially having to go to Easy Road or Easy E Road, and I even had to pause it. Yes, that was an intentional NWA reference. I even had to pause it, and you can barely read it, even within the camera shot there, so it's no surprise that they got lost trying to find that road when you can barely see it on the road there.
If I'm not mistaken, it has to be used by the end of the 8th leg, which is next week.
And I have a feeling it's not going to matter whatsoever, because out of all the express passes we've seen on The Amazing Race, this one has not been mentioned on air once since the start of the 2nd episode. They haven't mentioned it in episodes 3, 4, 5, or 6, and the fact that it has to be used by the end of the 2-hour episode coming up here means that it'll have zero effect on the season, which pretty much explains every single express pass ever, except for 2 express passes, I think, over the past 13 international seasons that they've been used.
So, yeah, next week we've got a double episode.
Namibia.
Great fun.
They're copying Amazing Race Australia.
Well, it looks like they're continuing the run of self-drive legs again.
Awesome.
Which will mean probably 4 legs in a row. It won't happen in Amsterdam. It looks like we're actually going to get 4 legs in a row where teams are driving themselves and responsible for their own transport, which is molto bueno.
You think that they would make teams drive within Amsterdam, because I think American drivers might be a bit safer than Dutch drivers.
If they're going to give them a vehicle in Amsterdam, it's probably going to be a bicycle or a boat.
Or speed skates. I hear they're really good at speed skating.
So yeah, we've got Namibia, Wildlife Sand, and Steve's quasi-driving with a backwards W.
And I will be shocked if Matt and Ashley aren't gone by the end of next week. I think it'll be leg 7's a non-elimination, and then leg 8, my prediction of Matt and Ashley going will finally occur, because their storyline hasn't really picked up in contrast to the other teams, and they've been finishing pretty much at the bottom for the most part this season. And then Matt, of course, always getting overexcited and tripping over steps and repeating phrases. I think it's going to be their time to go.
Yeah, I mean, their average at the moment is 6th place.
And there's only 6 teams left.
Yeah, which is pretty terrible. If they want to leapfrog over Bergen and Kurt, they need a 3rd and a 4th place in the next 2 legs, at the very worst.
And that's not going to happen when a lot of the other teams have been doing very well, especially Steve and Allie, Haley and Blair, and even when then Jenny and Jelani have their express pass, and then Mike and Rochelle still have a pretty decent edit, and Laura and Tyler are even getting somewhat of a winner's edit now, which is surprising me.
Mike and Rochelle have tended to do very well in legs where they're responsible for their own transport as well.
As long as it doesn't have a stick shift. Or the fact that Jelani couldn't even drive a stick shift and that Jenny had to take over, which amused me.
I think the cars this week were manual again, but Mike and Rochelle didn't have any complaints by the sound of things.
Probably got used to it by this point.
Yeah, we didn't see them screwing up, and it's Africa, it's going to be a manual car.
I wonder if that's one of the great things about the Ford Fiesta, is that the stick shift just feels natural, even if you've never driven a stick shift before.
Logan, seriously, stop trying to get sponsorship from Ford. We need to work on Tim Hortons first.
What about Show Me?
That hasn't been mentioned in Big Brother Canada for 2 weeks now either. So yeah.
This was definitely an episode that was worth talking about for an hour here.
It was. And next week is going to be quite rapid fire because it's 2 episodes. Yay!
That's going to be a great to podcast about, to be stuck here for 2+ hours probably trying to talk about it.
I doubt we'll be stuck here for 2+ hours. We just won't talk about the usual amount of bullshit.
No tangents?
Oh, we'll have tangents. We just won't be talking about certain random things that we occasionally pick up on.
So you're saying no Donkey Kong Country references either?
Well, I'm not saying that because, as you well know, I prefer the podcast where we go off on tangents. Like our discussion on whether reality TV needs arseholes. Or like our repeated Treasure Hunters references. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back for Double Amazing Race next week. If you enjoyed the show, and even if you didn't, please give us a like on YouTube. And if you want to see what we're rambling about this week, our Twitters are in the description down below. And of course, we are covering Big Brother Canada again this coming week. And it'll just be us two again this week. Oh. Ben's definitely not joining us on Friday, but he might be joining us next Sunday for Amazing Race. So yeah, see you next week.
Hashtag 250, hashtag peace.
Why are we ending with that again? Are we going to end every podcast with that now? Seriously. Just random numbers and then peace.
Yeah.